Welcome back to Tabletop Tactics for Rocket League, where I'm using Hot Wheels and my tabletop to help explain to you how to better position in Rocket League and hopefully climb up those ranks. So today will be the last of 5 episodes. If you haven't watched the other ones, make sure to go through them. We went through back post rotations, which is very useful for defense, 1-2-3 positioning, which is your bread and butter for how you position as a team, but it's also a very complex concept, so definitely give that one a watch. We spoke about the midline and how to cross it, left and right theory, and now the last one that I feel is hugely important for all of you is how to rotate out of offense. And if we were to put it in terms of that 1-2-3 positioning video, which I do recommend you watch before watching this, is rotating out of position 1. And that is the position that has done something with the ball and no longer needs to do so. Okay, so let's get into it. We'll go with 3s because 3s tends to be the most important for tactics, whereas this still applies to 2s, but it's just you've got to be a little bit more aware as always. Player 1 is here, and they touch it into the middle somehow, but it gets defended. So it's not done anything. Player 2 might have committed as well, but it's not done anything crazy. But player 1 is now in their half with probably very low boost, just enough to recover, which I highly recommend you do, is when you do something up in offense, try and leave enough boost that you can recover quickly. You only need about 10 to 25 boost to start your momentum going. With one little dodge, you'll be able to get moving in no time. Now, this player here has many different options on where they can go, and I've got a few ideas to help you out. Not only to get back quickly, but also to get back in the best position possible. So first things first, if they land here and the boost is in this corner, always take it. You always want to take big 100 boosts if you're in your opposition half. And if you do take this boost here, then at that point, assess what's going on around you, and you might want to just go straight back to net, because that might be required. Perhaps they get a nice big breakaway. But one thing I highly recommend is to rotate out via the opposition goal. Now, the reason why this is important is it gives you multiple options. Firstly, it gives you the option to demo or bump the keeper who's in the way, and it doesn't need to affect you much. You can just give it a little try. Even if the person who's in net jumps and avoids your demo, you've caused them to move out of position a little bit, cause them to think about something else. And so if the ball does end up going in the middle after your touch and your teammate shoots, then that goalie isn't as ready as they were before. So that's the first thing. If you get a demo, it's a bonus. You don't have to get it. Then at that point, you want to consider rotating out via their boost. So if you can collect their boost on the way out, then that's perfect. Even if it isn't there, it might be spawning. And if it's spawning as you enter that boost area, definitely collect it, because that's 10 seconds without a boost in that corner, and it's very likely that there'll be a player rotating back here, or we might see a player push into this corner to try and collect boost, and that's how you start grinding down your opposition in 3s. So you've made your play in the corner, they've pushed out, and the ball's ended up in the middle somewhere. You've got to rotate back to defense. What a lot of people think is you have to get back in defense as quickly as possible, even if you don't get boost, which can be an error because it means you're going to boost starve your teammates. Whereas if you collect the boost upfield and go back, then you can completely go all the way back, you can rotate back in, you can do so much more when you've got 100 boost at the start of your rotation out. Now the last reason why I'm going to say try and cross over that midline over to the opposite side, as with any crossing the midline we've discussed before, is it gets you on to the far side of the play. So we're assuming this is a right-sided play right now. Everything's on the right side. You've just come from the right side, but you've now switched over to the left side and you're rotating out via the left side. And this means, as always, that you can be on the opposite side of the pitch should a pass come, and you might need to rotate back in, or if you need to go all the way back, you're then at the back post, which you can see if I move the camera back a little bit here. You're then at the back post if play does progress in that way, which it often does. Often goes back and forth very quickly. So we'll have a little look at an example now. This is very common. You'll often see players do this at the top level, as they rely on their teammates to keep the rhythm of the team as a frequent pace, because if these two players progress very quickly and commit early, and you are midway through your rotation out via their boost, then any kind of win and this ball gets past all of you. So you've got to rely on your teammates to not push up too early, because if they try and make a play too quickly, then your rotation back is going to be a bit slower. So that's the general gist of it. Let's get the example. Okay, so here we have a clip of Gale Force doing a little bit of each type of rotation out. So here's our first one, Pashi rotating out via their boost. So now you notice that corner boost is taken, and Fairy Peak and K-Dot both haven't got access to it now. And it also allowed Pashi to be the first one straight back into rotation because the play ended up switching to the other side. Now we're going to switch to Chosette and see a slightly different way in which you can rotate out. So Chosette just tries to go as quickly as possible, but you'll notice straight away Chosette recognises that both Violent Panda and Pashi are on that side of the pitch. So you watch from his point of view here. After he recovers out, he's like, okay, my two teammates are on that side over there. I better go over here, and the ball ended up coming towards him, to which he touched it down for a teammate to clear away. Now, that's two different types. Firstly, you've got the rotate out via the opposite boost to boost starve, which is the slowest but can be the most effective, and that requires your two teammates to be a little bit slower with their interaction into the game. And then you've got the way Chosette just did it, where the fastest way back up the opposite side of the pitch to where your teammates are to try and not boost starve his teammates. And then we'll be watching the last example in a moment here when he rotates out via the same side. Okay, so here's the last example. Chosette goes up the right side, puts it into the middle, recognizes the ball is switching sides, and so he's kind of rotating back via the opposite side but still keeping part of the play. So you don't always need to switch over, but it's always best, well, it's normally best. The best thing to try and do is to rotate out via the opposite side to which the play is on. And you can see right here an example of 3 different ways in which you can do it. Stealing boost from the opposite corner, going back the fastest route on the opposite side, and then going back kind of slowly over the opposite side to keep you still engaged, but on the opposite side to your teammates. All of these things are very conceptual. You've got to work out what's the best option for you when you're in game, but the main things I would say is save a little bit of boost so you can recover quickly. So like I said, 10 to 25 land, dodge away. Go up the opposite side to the player of the ball is normally the best option. And lastly, as you're going back, do remember that you might be a passing option. So say the ball does end up going back into the possession of the orange team here, and this guy was rotating out via that side. If suddenly that player decides to pass across to you, make sure you are ready for it, because that can be the most dangerous way to score, is a player rotating back that the defensive team has forgotten about, but they're then in a blind spot and dangerously can shoot on that opposite side, as we mentioned in the previous episode, the left and right side of plays. So that's pretty much it. Any questions, be sure to leave them down below. I'll hopefully be able to answer them for you. If you like the video, make sure to give it a like. And this is the last of 5 episodes that I plan on doing. I will do more in the future, maybe more in a live stream setting so we can do open Q&A. But if you do enjoy these videos, be sure to let me know, as I do plan to do more in the future. I've got so many different theories that I've conceptualized through Rocket League, so I'd love to share them with you. So go through, learn the things that I've said in these videos, and hopefully improve your game. But do remember, they're not hard and fast rules. They are designed to be broken and changed based off of how you and your team play. But for the most part, they will help you out if you consider doing them when you're playing. So keep practicing, get your mechanics better, and hopefully with these positioning tips you can make it up to the top of the rank leaderboard.